brothers and sisters, we're called to have a Eucharistic mindset as Catholics. And I think we get this sense from a saint like Saint Manuel, but also, well, all the saints. All the saints have strong devotion to the Eucharist. They might have different accents of their spirituality, or put it this way, different parts of the gospel are emphasized by their life. But we find in a saint like Saint Manuel and Saint Peter Julian Eymard, Saint John Vianney, Saint Charbel, Saint Catherine of Siena. We have in these saints many more, Blessed Imelda, many saints that are particularly somehow really focused or aware of the living presence of God in the Eucharist. Like I said, all saints would be aware of this as just part of ordinary Catholic truth and belief that the Lord, when he said, "This is my body, this is my blood," what he says is. And he says that through the priest at the Mass. The priest, Jesus utters these words through the priest and gives it the reality of what these words are speaking about. This is my body, this is my blood. And so, but a saint like Saint Manuel can really be an example to us to confirm that really at the heart of our Catholic perspective is the Eucharist, is the Mass. But it's something that we have to really struggle to establish this perspective in our lives, a Eucharistic perspective. It's not just the Eucharistic amazement of John Paul that to have this sense of awe and wonder of what the Eucharist is, but also to just have a mindset that is constantly looking towards meeting the Lord at Mass, and a mindset that sets us in the right way about leaving Mass. In fact, a saint like Saint Josemaria Escriva would say that his life was lived between Masses. So he would be preparing for Mass. Everything throughout his day he'd be conscious of, about all his actions, all his decisions, that he would be going to bring that with him to the Mass. So that in the Mass, the Catechism tells us that in the sacrifice of the Mass, a new value is given to all the actions of our life. It's this sacrifice, this offering of Christ that we get to participate in. And when we participate, who participates? Us, our whole life. And God sees all the actions, everything of our life that are good and true and beautiful. And when united to Christ, that our whole life, our whole meaning, everything is raised to a whole new value. And so the Mass is mysterious because it becomes Christ's offering. Our offering is united to Christ, so that it becomes his offering. The Mass allows us to offer something that we can't do by ourselves outside of the time of Mass. We get the opportunity to offer perfect love with Christ. We'll open up the Mass in another few sessions at some point, but for now it's just to have the mindset that my life is about the Eucharist, because the Eucharist is Christ. And so that I should be, if I go to Mass every day, then that's a tremendous grace. But let's say if you're only going to Mass on a Sunday, then, or no matter how often you go to Mass, but every day should be, you'll be thinking that, oh, I'm going to Mass tomorrow. I'm going to Mass on Sunday. And my week is a preparation for that encounter. If you go to Mass daily, then you have left Mass with thanksgiving in your heart, and you also start preparing immediately for the next Mass. And this is very hard. It's not something that I have perfected myself. In saying this to you and preaching this to you, I'm challenging myself. But it's something that I'm trying my best to develop that mental habit of making the Mass the complete center and orientation of my life. So it's not just about getting there or even putting things aside to make sure I have time to get to Mass. That's important. But that when I'm studying, when I'm my other jobs that I have to do and the jobs that you have to do, that we know that you're doing that diligently and in the best way you can, in view of bringing it to the Mass, so that it would also be offered up for its most sublime value. So the best way to explain this is that we just have to have a Eucharistic mindset. So Saint Joseph Maria Escriva, to me, sums it up wonderfully, that I live between Masses. My day is about preparing for Mass, and then after Mass it's Thanksgiving, and then I'm preparing again for the next Mass. There was a hermit that was interviewed in the Dublin Mountains, and one of the brothers said to me that he had said that his whole life was between Masses, and that he was completely Eucharistic centered. And that's a witness for all of us. In the Catechism, St. Irenaeus, one of the great church fathers, he says that our way of thinking is attuned to the Eucharist, and the Eucharist in turn confirms our way of thinking. So the Eucharist gives value to the way we think as well. It shapes our thoughts. What happens at Mass sheds light on the rest of our lives.